The Ohio Bobcats just won their first conference title since 1968, finishing the year 10-3 with the possibility of having their first 11-win season in school history if they win their bowl game next week. What former coaches Frank Solich and Tim Albin were able to do for the Bobcats program is truly amazing. This is the rise of Ohio football. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who your favorite MAC program is in the comments section below. This video is brought to you via Layup. Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish it was easier to motivate myself to save money? Now you can use your passion for sports as your motivation to save with Layup. Saving with Layup every week means you receive 3 picks daily and 21 picks over the week. The more picks that match, the more you win. And if you want to play for bigger prize pots, you just have to save more. Sign up with my link or QR code, use the referral code ETGYouTube, and play for a pot of $1 million each week for your first month, no strings attached. Join me and let your passion for sports be your motivation to save. In 2004, Ohio University would land a big-name head football coach in Frank Solich. Solich played college football at Nebraska in the mid-1960s, where he was a fullback who weighed 150 pounds. He was the first Nebraska player to rush for 200 yards in a game, and the first to make the cover of Sports Illustrated, which happened in 1965. He originally wanted to be an FBI agent coming out of college, but before he could take the admissions test, he would earn a high school coaching job where he spent a decade before being hired by the great Tom Osborne in 1979. When Osborne decided to retire after the 1997 season, Solich was his preferred choice to follow him, and he had insanely tough shoes to fill. Nebraska was coming off 3 undefeated national titles in 4 years, and Solich was always going to be compared to his former mentor. Osborne spoke on the recommendation saying, I recommended Frank to take over because he was a solid recruiter, an excellent X's and O's guy, had good relationships with people. He was an outstanding choice. He coached for 6 years and did really well. He went 42-9 in his first 4 years, including a Big 12 title in 1999 and a national championship game appearance in 2001. But the Cornhuskers were routed by Colorado and Miami to end the 2001 season, and a 7-7 record in 2002 led to backlash. A 9-3 record in 2003 wasn't enough to save his job. He would be fired before the bowl game, finishing with a 58-19 record as Nebraska's head coach. Solich's 58 wins during his first 6 seasons at Nebraska, serving as head coach, exceeded those of predecessors Bob Devaney with 53 wins and Osborne, who had 55 wins, both of whom are College Football Hall of Famers. Osborne spoke on the decision to let Solich go, saying, it was a tremendous mistake to let Frank go. It made no sense to me, and probably to most Nebraska fans. Particularly now, it made no sense, but I'm very proud of what he's done in Ohio. While most would have taken that as a crushing blow, Solich stayed focused on his goals and took the 2004 season off. When athletic director Thomas Bowe was looking for a new head coach, he reached out to some of his athletic director friends for potential names for when it came to the coaching search for Ohio. One Big 12 connection told him to call Solich. Bowe didn't need any more convincing and quickly connected with him. Solich would be mentioned by more well-known coaching jobs like the Army job, but he decided to take the Ohio job in December of 2004 after growing up in the Cleveland area. Bowe told The Athletic back in 2020 that he had began to receive letters and emails from Nebraska fans when the news came out public explaining they were Frank Solich fans and they started a Nebraska Fans for Ohio club, and there's a whole lot of people in Lincoln who became fans of Ohio. Before he arrived in 2005, the Bobcats had just 2 winning seasons from 1983 to 2004, both during Jim Grobe's brief but successful stint from 1995 to 2000. In their 4 previous seasons, the program was 11-35. Solich took the job because he loved the enthusiasm by the university officials, his familiarity with Ohio, and the success of the Mid-American Conference. Solich had recruited the area previously and was excited to return to coaching. In his first game, the Bobcats would lose to Northwestern 38-14 on the road, would host reigning Big East champions Pittsburgh in Week 2. It would be a nationally televised game on ESPN and was the largest home crowd for Ohio in a while. Dion Bynum returned 2 interceptions for touchdowns, with the second occurring in overtime to secure the upset win. The fans stormed the field, and after the game, Byram went up to Solich and told him it was the first time he felt he was truly a part of a Division I football program. Solich spoke on the moment saying, you can't understand how much that meant to me. Those moments are more important to me than the other parts of college football. They would finish that first season 4-7, but rebounded with a 9-5 record in 2006, where they won the Eastern Division but lost in the MAC championship to Central Michigan. Though they lost their bowl game to Southern Miss, it was still a major accomplishment as it was the first time they appeared in a bowl game since 1968. They would suffer their second losing season in 2008 when they finished 4-8, but that would be their last losing season the rest of Solich's tenure. They would return to the MAC title game in 2009 and made their second bowl game, which would spark a 5-game bowl streak that lasted until 2013, their longest bowl streak in school history up to that point. They would win their first bowl game in school history when they beat Utah State 24-23 in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl in 2011. The bowl win also marked the first time they won double-digit games since 1968. They followed that up with a 45-14 win over Louisiana Monroe in the Independence Bowl in 2012, before falling to East Carolina in the Beef O'Brady Bowl in 2013. Although they finished the 2014 season 6-6, they would not be invited to a bowl game. That sparked another 5-year bowl streak starting in 2015, and for the first time in school history, they won 3 straight bowl games, beating UAB 41-6 in 2017 in the Bahamas Bowl, San Diego State 27-0 in the Frisco Bowl, and Nevada 30-29 in the 2019 famous Idaho Potatoes Bowl. Following a 2-1 season in 2020, Solich would decide to retire. He finished as the Mid-American Conference's all-time wins leader, led Ohio to 4 MAC title games, played in 11 bowl games, going 5-7 in them, and finished with an overall record of 115-82. Solich was 76 when he decided to retire, explaining, "You're asking everything of these kids, their time and energy. If you can't commit to that yourself, then it's time to move on." He was having cardiovascular health concerns at the time. Solich turned the Ohio program around in his 16 seasons there. When he first arrived at Ohio, former athletic director Jim Schaus said many thought he was a part of the Ohio State staff with the Ohio logo on his polo shirt, but as the wins and brand recognition grew, those mistakes no longer occurred as people knew the Ohio football program because of Solich and the success of the basketball team. In a league that churns through coaches often immediately losing successful coaches to bigger jobs, Solich never left. He could have, but knew what it was like coaching at a bigger school like Nebraska and was happy at Ohio. Solich spoke on his career saying, "If you're looking at my 55 years of coaching, I've only had 4 stops. 2 of those were high school jobs, the job at Nebraska and Ohio University. 3 of the 4 were rebuilding jobs. I wasn't one to just look down the road for something else. When I take over a job, I take it over with the idea to build and make it work. How fortunate are you to coach for 55 years and only uproot your family twice? 2 moves in 55 years. I think I'm ahead of the game. I've only been fired once. That's not bad for 55 years. I got no chips on my shoulder." He also did not see a ton of coaching turnover like the other schools saw. Offensive coordinator Tim Albin joined Solich's staff in 2005 and became his assistant coach in 2019 before being promoted as his successor. Jimmy Burrow, the father of Joe Burrow, served as the defensive coordinator from 2005 to 2018 before retiring to be able to watch his son play for LSU in 2019. Assistants relished that Solich let them have life outside of football. Jimmy Burrow missed just 2 of Joe's games at Athens High School. He spoke on working for Solich, saying, "It was all because of how Coach Solich treated us. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. We knew we had a good thing going there. That speaks volumes about why coaches stayed there for so long." As previously mentioned, longtime offense coordinator Tim Albin would be named the school's next head coach. While the 2021 season would be rough, going 3-9, including a loss to an FCS school, no one panicked. It was only the 3rd losing season the school experienced, dating back to 2005. 2022 would be a much better season for the Bobcats, although they started the season off 2-3 with close wins over FAU and Fordham, while losing to Penn State, Iowa State, and Kent State in overtime, all on the road. They proceeded to win 7 straight games and played in the MAC championship for the 5th time since 2005. While they would move to 0-5 in the title game, they would continue their bowl winning streak to 4 straight when they beat Wyoming in the Arizona Bowl 30-27 to earn their second 10-win season since 1968 and the first 10-win season since 2011. The 2023 season would be another great year for Ohio, although they lost the season opener to San Diego State on the road 20-13. They proceeded to win 5 straight, including an upset win over Iowa State 10-7, before losing to Northern Illinois on the road. They would win 5 of their last 6 games to close out the season, including their 5th straight bowl win, this time over Georgia Southern in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, 41-20, to finish the year 10-3. It was the first time winning 10 games in back-to-back seasons in school history. Heading into the 2024 season, they would be without 3-year starting quarterback and former MAC Player of the Year Curtis Rourke, who transferred to Indiana, and leading rusher Sai Bangira, who transferred to Minnesota. They brought in UCF transfer Parker Navarro, who was known as a dual-threat quarterback, and their most experienced wide receiver was Chase Hendricks, who had 11 catches for 108 yards heading into the year. They also had to replace defensive coordinator Spence Nowinski, who left for Memphis during the spring practice after leading the 4th-ranked defense in 2023. This led to the transfer portal decimating Ohio on the defensive side of the ball. The Bobcats would be picked to finish 5th in the preseason coaches poll, and Albin was going to have a tough coaching job on his hands. It would start the season off 2-2 with wins over South Alabama and Morgan State, while having losses to Syracuse and Kentucky, or winning their first 2 games of MAC play over Akron and Central Michigan. They would lose to Miami of Ohio on the road before going on a 5-game win streak to close out the regular season and earn a spot in the MAC title game. In the title game, they would have a rematch against the Redhawks. They would dominate in the championship game, winning 38-3 to earn their first conference title since 1968, finally getting the monkey off their back when it came to the MAC title game. Albin finally finished what Solich had started. Following the title game, he would take the Charlotte head coaching job, shocking the college football world. As of the time of recording, there is really no clear successor on Ohio's staff, but possible names outside Ohio include Notre Dame offense coordinator Mike Denbrock, Arkansas offense coordinator Bobby Petrino, and South Dakota State head coach Jimmy Rogers, among others. They will play Jacksonville State on Friday, December 20th in the Cure Bowl. What Solich and Albin were able to do for Ohio University has truly been amazing, turning them from one of the worst MAC programs in the nation to one of the best jobs in the conference. What do you think? Who wins the MAC next season? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.